Hello. Happy Wednesday. Let me, as usual, let me know if you cannot hear me for some reason. I do see you guys have already been kind of chit-chatting in the comments, and there's a lot of people from Ohio here today, which is super fun. Um, oh, Susan, we've had plenty of rain in East Tennessee. Yeah, we haven't really had any rain, and we don't have any rain in the forecast this week. I'm not going to complain about it though, because we've had cold weather here. Like, it's been chilly. So I'm hoping, like, just to get one last nice week. Um, but yeah, so Naomi is trying to decide if a chickadee from Lovely Layers winter birds can be used on Christmas cards. Yeah, girl, yeah, they're winter birds. Use them. Also, it's your card. Do what you want. Do whatever you want. Okay. So I did do a smidge of pre-planning, like one iota. Because you know me, I'm over here just so I'm gonna clean off. Oh look, Dawn's here. Hi, Dawn. I am going to um oh, I gotta scoop myself in. Okay, all right. So now let's look at what we're doing here. All right. So this is the Happy Halloween set. These all have coordinating dies. If I don't show the dies, it's just because they're kind of like all over in the deck. So, but this does have coordinating dies. The dies, there is no die for the spider web, but there's dies for all of the stuff down here. Then this one came out last year. And this is the Halloween set. So these are all solid images. These also have dies. Um, these ones I was able to locate. So these also have dies. And then this one, where's the backer for this one? Oh, here it is. This is If the Broom Fits, which I have done I did a video on when like the a year before, 2 years ago when this one came out. So there's this one, and this one also has the coordinating guys. And then this little guy, oh, that's why I couldn't find him, because this is a smaller. So this little guy is like the sentiments, which are totally adorable. I love the little hocus pocus one. That's probably the one I used. Oh, look at Witch Please. I probably did use that one too, because that totally matches my vibe. So anyway, so the idea that I had is to do a little scene um with these. So anyway, back to my story. Um, so like I don't necessarily get to like get out and interact. So I joined a book club to force myself to get out of the house. This is was um last year. Nope, year before last. So here I've stamped them out. So these I've stamped in black. We are going to color these, not the tree, obviously, it's solid black. But we are going to color these little elements. And then I stamped the moon and the clouds and the cat in our no line ink. The reason this one's darker is because my stamp was dirty. Don't judge me. And so I stamped these. And then I also stamped them here, the moon and the clouds, on a masking sheet. So I am going to die cut them out because we're going to be doing a little ink blending. So here is what I'm thinking. I'm going to use these little wood frame builder dies. As you can see, my packaging is very well loved. So I'm going to create like a little doorway with my wood frame and have my little witch like peeking out, and then like some scenery in the background with some like ink blending. And I think that'll be really, really cute. So that is the game plan for what we're doing today. So anyway, uh, like since I don't get to go out and meet people and my book club closed, and I've been looking for a book club like to get back out and meet people and have conversation and whatever. And then like Dawn had said people are overrated. I basically have found the same thing to be true. So instead of finding a book club to join, I'm just making my own. And I am doing I am doing it with people in my life that I already like. So my sisters, my nieces, like we're gonna start small and see like how things go from there. Um, and then, if there's people who, like they're friends with or whatever who they want to invite, like I wouldn't be opposed to that. But we're just gonna start with people we know. All right, so can we join virtually? But you have to read the book, Dawn. I'm lying. You don't. I've already told my my in fact, my niece Becca, she's engaged to my nephew. So we were talking about it and we were trying to like find a day that worked. And we were like, oh, Wednesdays, Fridays don't work, blah, 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 blah. What about Thursdays? And Thursdays seem to be working for everyone. So I was like, Becca, does Thursdays work for you? And she was like, oh, I'm not doing like, no, she was like, "Oh no, I'm not doing this." And I started laughing and I was like, "You don't want you don't want to join our book club?" And she goes, "Oh, I'd love to join your book club and I'd love to come hang out with y'all." She is from Tennessee. She was like, "But I know me and I will say that I'm going to read the book. I will not read the book whatsoever. And then, I'll show up and I won't have read the book." And I was like, "Girl, your mother-in-law ain't going to read the book neither. So just come." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And we're going to do like fun theme nights, like s'mores bars and like dip night and stuff like that, just to have an excuse to hang out with people we like. And that's that. That's what we're doing. What kind of books do you read? Sherry wants to know. I will read literally anything. I have always been quite the reader. I don't want to have to put a thing down here because I don't want it to be a window. So I might need to find a slightly longer one. Um, and then this will be ground, this will be sky. I see, that's what I'm talking about. I think I maybe have too many items that I want to fit into one scene. Um, so we'll see how that goes. This moon is going to be way too big, and I probably won't be able to fit in the clouds either. Maybe I can do a smaller moon. Is there a smaller moon in any of these sets? Or if there is not a smaller moon, I may have to get a circle die. Let me look. Because sometimes, guys, when we're creating on the fly here, we gotta. There is not a smaller moon. I like that big moon. I'm gonna have to use that big moon for something else. Lisa loves Stephen King. Lisa, what is your favorite Stephen King book? I would love to know. I am going to get a circle die. I am wearing my pajama pants. Again, don't judge me. If you're judgy, this isn't the place for you anyway. Okay. Here we go. So let me a smaller moon like that. A smaller moon like that. I think that would be good. Okay, we're gonna use that. We're just gonna cut that out of some masking tape. All right. So now I stamped out all these things. I don't even need them. I do still want the cat though. I am going to die cut this out and I'm going to die cut these out. Um, I am going to die cut these out of this paper so that I do not waste it because I am cheap. All right, so now that we're going to get into the creating, I am going to, is blurry anyway, so you won't miss me. I'm going to take my face off of the screen. I read a lot, but I've never read Stephen King. I'm a chicken. So, like Stephen King isn't for everyone. A lot of his books are much more sci-fi than they are like horror novels. The Talisman and Dreamcatcher. I really did like Dreamcatcher, and I that's one of the ones that they turned into movie that was, like, super well done, excellent. But there's also, like, a lot of, like, movies out there that people don't even realize are by him. I'm totally gonna date myself because, I mean, Stephen King's been around for a really long time, but most people probably won't know these. So that back in the '80s, there was a movie that came out with all the well, it had I always mix them up. Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Corey Feldman. It had Jerry O'Connell in it. Anyway, the name of the story is The Body. The name of the movie is Stand By Me. And it was an excellent one. The Green Mile is Stephen King. The Shawshank Redemption is Stephen King. Um, there's just a lot of ones that are out there that people are like, I that's not even like I would not even associate that with him. So here, these little edges on the bottom are hanging off, but it doesn't matter because I need them to hang off my card anyway. And then I'm going to cut my little moon out of off of here. Yummy. All right, there we go. So that's that. That's all three of those pieces. These three pieces need to be colored. But before those three pieces need to be colored, um I need to mark them out. Oh, yes, I was definitely talking to myself. It's a side effect of working from home, by yourself. Uh, you just you talk to yourself. All right. So let's get our doorway so I can mark it. So I know where to put my you need to come down and you need to come down. And you will fit across here. Oh, I gotta make sure I get my doorway straight. Gotta get my edges squared off here, which in real life is really very hard. Okay, there we go. Why you gotta be like that? I don't want my doorway to be wonky. See, and it's already wonky. And this is why I get this is why I get frustrated with diet. But we are going to make this work. All right, so now this one is lined up with that one. I'm going to take that down. And then I'm going to do this one across. Little piece of tape. Just stay where I put you. I know a wonky doorway works, Dawn, and I do appreciate your encouragement, but I don't want a wonky doorway. All right. Okay. That is close enough for government work. All right. So now I'm gonna put my moon. For some reason, I see. Yeah, I'm going to put my moon over here. Even though that is like the opposite of what I would normally do, I'm still going to do it. I think actually I'm going to tuck it up underneath here so we only see part of the moon. Okay. Worry about it. Okay, so for my ink blending, I'm going to move this so that I don't accidentally get color on it. We are going to do the Distress inks. And now actually that I think I'm going to need a brown, but I think I have a brown over in my photography area because I did the wood card for my husband. Okay, so the reason why the brushes are good for things like this um, is because you can be super light-handed. So I'm actually going to start over here and bring it in. This is my light source. So I want my sky to be really, really light around that so that the moon is, emitting this light, and it should all be coming from here.
Hi, guys. This is the only point that future me is kind of going to jump in here and chit chat with you guys. So, first things first, I want to say thank you for being here. We are trying something new. So, whether this is your vibe or like a more edited video is your vibe, I'm very interested in hearing your feedback. I did just want to pop in here and share that Honeybee is actually having a flash fall sale. So 20% off on any of their fall things. That's Halloween. They also like to include a lot of other things in there. That are maybe like more general kind of card making products. So those are really great to pick up during those sales. That is through Friday. So I will link that below. The other thing that I did want to just address is this new thing that I'm trying. I've never edited live videos before, so this is the first one that I'm going to be putting out, and so I'm doing it in two different ways. I'm doing it in this way, in which we are like leaving in most of the chit chatting, any of the issues. You'll laugh at the end when you see the issues that I have. We're leaving all of that in, so it's kind of feels more like a live, but it's just not as long versus me taking out all of the audio and all of the live features and just doing them more as an edited video. I am going to post both of them and try to get some of your feedback. So going forward, we know what's going to work. Or maybe you're just like, hey, if I catch the live, great. If I don't, then like I don't want to see it, which is also totally fine. So thank you so much for being here. I know that your time is precious, and I appreciate you spending it with me. Hopefully, you're enjoying, this version with the chit chatting, and then I don't ink blend this fast, but I did have to speed it up because it was quite a bit of video that was in here with the ink blending. And I figured it's self-explanatory, so it was a good time to pop in. But now we will go back to our regularly scheduled programming, and you can pick up the live just where we are in the creative process. Bye.
All right, so now we're back to the lightest color. And again, we're going to make sure we're still going over everything. Okay, and you can totally tell the difference between them. Like, adding that salty ocean is definitely giving us a brighter blue. So I'm not going all the way up to the mask. It does get a little tricky kind of in these smaller areas, like over here. I'm not overly worried about it because I know that we're going to be changing that up since it's the outside. So I'm not going to add any more ink to this. I'm just kind of going to lightly go over the circle with what's on it because I need there to be something um for this to show up as bright white. So, okay. Susan, are you using the same brush for all colors, or are you switching brushes? I am switching brushes. So everybody is different, and I know a lot of people just use like whatever they have. Like if it's a blue and it's in the blue family, that is true for me for some of the things. But if I have um a combination that I use a lot. Like, for example, for this one, I do a lot of scene cards, so I do have a lot of skies and things like that, then I do have separate ones for that. Colors I don't use a lot, like maybe like a red or something like that, I will use the same one for just whatever works for you and whatever works within your budget. Okay, so now nobody is shocked here. We're going to do a little bit of spattering because um, that is how I roll. So this already has perfect pearls in it. So I'm just going to reactivate that. If you did not, if you were starting from scratch, if you had no perfect pearls in there, you would just take it, if I get it open. And then I typically just like scoop some out with the back, put it in there, add a little bit of water and mix it up. But I have some that's dried in there, so I don't need um, to do that. Bonnie, I actually used 4. I used 1 for Salty Ocean, 1 for Blueprint Sketch, 1 for Chip Sapphire, and 1 for Black Soot. Okay, so I'm just going to make like a little puddle of water. Because these are distress inks and they react with water, you can get kind of like distant stars in the background by using just water. And then if you mix in your perfect pearls or whatever other Lindy's has a shimmer powder, um whatever other shimmer that you got going on, a metallic watercolor would work. um and then so when you first flick, that those are your biggest droplets. I want mine to look like stars, so I flicked a little bit off before I brought it to the paper. Okay, so I'm going to be happy with that, I think. And we'll show you just what that looks like. I'm going to have to use my tweezers because I can't find my poker. So, have you tried Altenew alcohol markers? Yes, I have. I've actually taught several classes for them using their markers. A couple of them are under Lativola, which was my name previously. And then I did one for them. Oh my gosh, was that last year or the beginning of this year? I can't remember. I feel like it was last year. I taught one for them. Um, okay, so here we can see like how even though we did it super light, like we still have that little bit of that moon. So we're gonna set this aside to dry, and then we're gonna work on our other coloring. Oh, you're born and raised in Mount Vernon. It was such an adorable little town. She's referring to my husband and I went to Mount Vernon, Ohio for our wedding anniversary. All right, so we still need this cat, so I can't draw on the cat, but I can. So if this is our moon, okay, or sun or whatever, then the rays are coming off like this. So it would be hitting this side of the door. Okay. So I'm going to go in with my lightest color. So I know this part is going to be super light because that's where my moon is going to be hitting. This part will be a little bit lighter because there's light on the outside, and then this part will be a little bit lighter. The lightest portion though will be this, and I know that it's hard to see right now, but just hang tight. I did see the dog fountain and I took a picture and I took a picture of the dog fountain, but it was really sad because there was no dogs that looked like Molly or Emma. Okay, so this is going to be where my shadow is, right here on and then on this side, and up here. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of bring this in because this is where they're meeting. So just like anything else that we've talked about where 2 points meet, we are gonna have that little bit of extra shadow. All right. These ones will be a bit darker. So we're only just gonna have that light on the side where it's kind of like backlit. And this one will probably be a bit lighter, like in the corner here, a little darker over there. Not many card makers use Ohuhu, and it's disheartening when you can't get the exact look that you want. I totally understand that. Like, I do get it. Um, they kind of came on the scene a little bit later, so I think that you're probably more likely to find people who are using them now. But like for myself, this is not nearly dark enough, and I can already tell. Um, like since this is and I invested in Copics before this was even my job. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm just saying that that was the part of creating that I enjoyed the most was coloring. So that is where I invested my money. And I did not buy them all at one time. I still um, do not own all of them. Um, and I don't know that I ever will, but I do understand how it can be challenging if you're not getting the um the look that you want. You just kind of got to do the best you can with what you got. Okay. So most of the time after I go through and do them once, I will end up having like I will try them over here on my little scene and see how I'm feeling about them. I'm just going to lay it up there just so we can get. So definitely still too light. Okay. And this is like one of those things where like we talk about how, using your darks um is going to help you get that more dimensional look. Um Dawn, I think most people think you need a ton of markers, but you really don't. That is true. You don't need um a ton of markers. You can get a I mean, I have several videos on, how you can get dimensional coloring with, just, 5 or 7 colors from different color families and how you can layer them to create dimension. All right. This one has to be refilled, unfortunately. This one is the one that we are going to do not as dark. I have two of these. I have two of these markers. This is one of the ones that like my son took and then I thought it was gone forever, so I ordered a new one and then it turned out it was just in his bedroom. All right. Did you count ink drops or just fill it? I count the ink drops. Usually like if it's dry, I'm going for like 15 to 20 to start and then I watch the nib. This time I didn't go that high. I was just trying to get through. All right, so now let's see if that is a little bit better. Yeah, but I still think I want this to be darker. So I'm just going to go in. Yeah, Olo did just announce that they are going to be releasing another 96 colors. Um, so they're doing, I think, pre-sales for that now. I do not know off the top of my head when that entirety will be released. All right. But thankfully, you can buy them individually, just like you can with the Copic. So you can get the set. I think they have a 10% off right now. All right, I am liking that better. Okay. Part of the reason why I'm so thrown off is because my light source is typically in my top right-hand corner, but I want my witch to be hanging out over here. So whatever. I did it to myself, y'all. That is coming out of the doorway, out of the right-hand doorway, which means the light source is coming in this way. So our shadows are going to be on this side. Okay. I am going to see how this comes up. That gives us an opportunity to put in a little curve here to help give the hat some more shape. Same thing here, like we can go in and do a little triangle, and it will help this to look like it is raised. For these here, even though the light source is going to be hitting that up right up at the top, there is still going to be some shadow where this thing is kind of crumpling on itself. We're just not going to put in as much. So we still want there to be. And when we're coloring, most of the time what we see the most of is our midtones. So we'll bring that up there, bring it out here. Okay. So Kathy, I do have I have a video where we talk about just coloring things black. Um and how to get like a good grasp of how to do that um on my own channel. So here we are only leaving the white for the lightest part. And this is another one of those things that you may find once you get it into the scene that you do need to go darker, but we won't know until we're in it. Okay. So let me pick this up. So you can see, we maintained the bends and folds and all of those things. I don't like this right here. I'm just going to go over that again so I can get it to be a little bit of a smoother blend. Okay. So then I'm going to do the other thing I'm going to do black is her shoes. And again, our light source is coming in this way. So this back here is going to be dark. Follow that all the way down the heel. This is underneath. So this is all going to be dark. And this is also inside her shoe, like the inside, like tongue of the shoe. And so then we're going to blend that out. A little bit of darkness there where the kind of the toe curls up. Okay. And then this is that lightest color to catch those kind of high points. Okay. And I will pick you up so that you can see. All right. So I think that's for the black items. Now, for this skull and crossbones, I do want to color them white, but we have to remember that they are in a shadow scene. So when we're coloring something white, we're adding the shadows, but this is going to be pretty shadowed. So even though it's white, we're still going to go in there with some darker grays, and we're just going to make sure that we are leaving some highlights. Okay, there's that. And then I'll have to add the shadows for how one is laying over the other once I get them together. Okay. There we go. I know it looks like we're just coloring them gray, but I promise you, once they get in the scene, once they get in the scene, it'll be better. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to use those browns we used for the doorway, and I am going to color the handle of the broom. So I think I'm going to put that on the right-hand side. So I'm going to do the shadows. So I'm going to put it by my little witch clothes, I think. Okay. All right, there's that. Okay. And then I'm going to do, okay. So I'm going to do a combination. Um, yes, it's an E59. It's the walnut. Um, so I'm going to do a combination of the browns and the yellows. So that it still looks like a broom, but it still has that darkness. So I'm gonna go. These are the same dark browns that I was using up there. And where this kind of dips in, I am adding a little bit of shadow as well. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the E57. So far everything is the same as the handle. I'm just kind of flicking that color out there. But then I'm going to switch to an E99, which is typically the darkest color that I use for my yellows. And remember, we want to go over the previous color. This is what's going to help them blend together. And then I'm going to do the YR24, which is normally my mid-tone. I'm going to do that as my lightest color. And I will pick that up. Oh, I didn't even show it to you. Lord have mercy. I didn't even pay attention to where I was at. If we do, like, we're going to do purple and white. So here's the easiest way to do anything that, like, candy canes where you have white stripes, or clothing where you have white stripes, anything where you want to do a white stripe, it's easier to just color the whole thing white. So for my white, I'm going to use my C1, C3, and C5. I'm just going to be a little bit more heavy-handed with my 5 than I normally would be because it is a night scene. So remember, our light source is coming in this way. So we're going to blend this out and then to the C3. And I know it seems like a striking shadow, but that's okay. And then this is the C1. Okay. And I just left the true white on the edge. So now to go in with my purple, it's going to be so much easier to just go in and color the sections purple than it would be to go purple, white, purple, white, purple, white. I'm trying to get them all sorted. All right. So this is going to, even though it's not a violet, I am going to use it as my darkest color because it's going to help make my VO9 just a little bit darker. So we're going to go this one, I think. And then skip that one, this one, skip that one, this one, skip this one. Okay. So then now when I'm adding my my purple, I'm going to go over that blue entirely because we don't want it to look blue. We just want it to be a deeper shade of violet. And then our VO6. This last little one down here, I'm just going to fill that whole thing in. And then our lightest color is going to be that VO4. Okay. So again, our shadows are matching. You know, where it looks white now, right? Because we put another color with it, so it looks like it is purple and white striped. I'm also going to do her little ribbon up here at the top purple to kind of tie that in. So her little waistband, uh, which honestly, I don't even think we're going to get to see. I don't even think we're going to get to see a lot of because it's going to be kind of tucked behind the doorway. But nonetheless, we're doing the thing. All right. And again, we're going to go over that blue. These are going to be darker because it's further away from our light source. That's going to be all dark. So remember, we're just leaving the littlest bit of highlight for our lightest color. Okay. So that will maybe tie some things in. Orange. Orange is like yellow, where it's a little bit tricky to get like a good orange when you're looking for like a deeper, richer color because it's just naturally so bright. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some browns. So this is going to look crazy. I don't know what of these browns yet I'm going to be using, but I do know that I'm going to have to use some of them. So I'm going to start with the darkest one. I'm going to start with the E29. And we have to keep our light source in mind. Remember, everything's coming in this way, but also there's a lot going, the shape of this And if you are interested in like the idiosyncrasies of the shape of this, I would highly recommend that you watch the other video I have, which features this set. Um, so here, before I do my light source shading, I'm going to go in and do the shading for my clothing. So this is going to come up because this is raised. This is down. So we're going to add that darkness there. This is on top. This is down. So we have what we call our peaks and valleys. Your valleys are going to have your darkest color. And then this one, there it isn't one way or the other. So we're just going to put a little triangle here to help give it a little bit more shape and a little bit more lift. Now, I find it easiest to turn my paper so that I can add some shading from down here. And so what I want to do is I want to go in between those triangles that I've put down, because it can't all be lifted. Okay. And already we can see we're starting to get some shape. So I think from there, let me try the 39. Oh yeah. Okay, so I don't need the 57. I'm going to go in with an E39 next, because this is warm. This is a warm brown, which is going to play really nicely with our oranges. And so we're going to extend this out. We're going to get these little fold over pieces and extend out our darks. But then we're also going to add a little bit of this into the middle of the top sections. Okay. All right, so now this might be a little bit too, this might take over. Nope, it's okay. Wonderful. All right, so this is the YR09. We're blending this into the E39. The reason that I chose those is that it should work because they all end in 9. That is only the case for Copic markers. I don't know how the other, I haven't figured out the trick for blending the other ones yet. So we're just going over everything. This feels very Cleveland Browns-ish, which I got to tell you, my husband would probably love, but I am, bleh. I am no thank you. All right. So, and then the lightest color. So sometimes it helps when I did go out of the lines there, just so you know, we're not, nobody's perfect around here. So sometimes it helps to do what you know first. So like I know how to add shading to a skirt to make it look dimensional. So I've colored the whole thing that way. And so sometimes it helps to do this first and then do your light source. And I know that it seems like, well, like, Kelly, why would I do all that work? Because sometimes your brain just needs you to until you learn how to do it. Um, and you build that muscle memory. So now I know my light source is coming in this way, okay? Which means a lot of this is going to be dark. So I'm back to that E29. And so I'm going to be adding a lot more dark because it's further away from my light source. So this is going to be pretty dark back here. And then this part up here, we're going to have some high areas where it is definitely going to start catching the light, but this is dark. It's back behind the doorway. I'm still going to go over this with my oranges because I still want this to read as orange. I don't want it to read as brown. But sometimes just doing that first part helps my brain to be like, okay, so this is how it's supposed to look. Now, how would I change it to make it dark? So now here we are, these parts, these lightest parts are going to be the part where it's going to catch the light, and these parts will remain in the darkness. Okay. I was over here doing my dyes, and apparently I'm missing. Brandon, how have you never seen Hocus Pocus? We are the same age, sir. Oh, I have, but I didn't put that together. Okay, you're forgiven. So on my birthday, my mom's favorite movie was Dirty Dancing. And it is also my favorite movie, probably because as a little, we watched it numerous times, and my poor father with 3 daughters was forced to do The Lift so many times, too many times to count. So I wanted to watch it for my birthday. Um, Self-admittedly, is there some adult themes in that movie? There definitely are. But I was watching it. I had started watching it because my birthday was on a Sunday, and that's when my daughter has swim lessons. So I started watching it while they were away at swim. And so then when they came home, it was already on. And then my little my little girl was immediately captivated by the movie. And so when I put her down for her nap, she was like, "Don't finish the movie without me." So on my birthday, I watched Dirty Dancing twice, and I got to do The Lift with my own child, which was perfectly adorable. So I'm going to fit them next to each other. And I'm just going to cut them where the angle is. Okay. So now I can scoot this up. And this is why this is why my lives are so much longer, because I'm just literally making it up on the fly. All right. So we're going to do this. Okay. All right. Yeah, Bonnie, you're right. We do typically have to troubleshoot alone. But in a live, we troubleshoot together. All right. So there's that. Looks like a doorway to nowhere. Looks like a doorway to nowhere, but that's cool. All right. So I am going to. Oh, you have your own peanut too? That's so cute. When we went to Mount Vernon for our anniversary, they have a coffee shop there. called the Happy Bean. And so they had a little t-shirt that said Happy Little Bean on it. So I ended up getting it for for my daughter, since I call her Jelly Bean. And sometimes that definitely does get shortened into just Bean. Okay. All right. So basically, I have glued this to a black piece of cardstock so that I can cover up those other die cuts. And also, there we go. Your peanut is Hunter and he'll be 21 in a week. Dawn's got a Hunter too. All right. So now this, I can do this with it and it'll look like it's peeking out of the doorway. And I just need to put some floor in there so she doesn't look like she's floating in outer space. Sitting over here, this ground espresso. I'm just going to put some ground in here in the bottom. That's good enough. I just need something. I do think so. Barbara made it like the skirt is so pretty and it'll hardly show. Like that is one of the things that, like, if you like scene building. Oh, what just happened there?
Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. I think what has happened is I think my phone has died. So I'm going to run and get a charger. So just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second. So while we figure out that, I am going to figure out the sentiment while my phone is restarting. All right. So I think like here's our options. I do like the little Hocus Pocus one. That makes her foot look enormous. Oh, scale is important. Okay. We're going to trim it. So one part looks inside, one part looks outside. So this is what we got going on right now. And you can see on the other side, well, you could if my camera would focus, that it is too big. So we are going to trim it down so that it matches our A2 size card. There we go. And then, like I said before, I will be. All right, so now we've got our floor on there, and I am going to add shading to that because it's too light. So, all right, so we've added some shadows. So now here is what we are looking like. I'm going to start putting in my things. And see, now because you get to see me when when I'm crafting, you're going to get to see all the weird things that I do, like hold my glue in my mouth. All right, so now I'm going to trim off my excess. I know it will break our hearts, but that's okay because it's stamped, so we have the opportunity to use that image in a completely different way another time. So, all right, so now I've trimmed off the excess. I am going to blend this into my background because I have to, honestly. Like, it's just, I have to. I can't just leave it. It would drive me crazy. You can still hear me?
All right. Are we back in business? Are we back? Are we back in business? Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. So clearly, I've made some progress while we were chit-chatting. So I've glued in my broom. I've glued in my floor. She's kind of peeping out. This is garbage. I am going to put my little spider over here as kind of like a little bit of balance. Um, and we have to do our skull and crossbones. I'm not giving up on that. I still want that. Okay. So here is the thing with the spider. The spider is stamped in black. And um, so I still want him to be seen. So for this part of it, this string part that's coming down, I am going to color, well, I'm going to glue him first. Um, so I'm going to glue him and then I'm going to still color that part in black, like where it should be black. But then, we're going to do that white gel pen. And that is what's going to help him be visible. I got to get this lined up on my background so I know where I'm going. Up higher, down lower. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do the lightest brown just to get my edge. Actually, this might be all on the door frame except for that part right there. Okay. Okay. Now, obviously, I need to make him a little bit darker because my door frame is darker. So we're going to go right through here. Like I have a plan, a game. I have so many plans for so many things. I do have a plan for a summary card that I still haven't had the opportunity to make. Um, so like I'm bouncing all over the place. So don't beat yourself up if you're not there yet. It's totally fine. All right. And then this side, we are gonna have like this up here, we are gonna do black and also over here. Okay. Even then, I need to do a little bit of a shadow here underneath my cat. Light source is coming this way, so the shadow would be going this way. It doesn't have to be perfection. It's just, we're just giving the illusion. Okay, so now we're gonna glue this one this way. Okay, and then we have to blend them before we can glue the next one on top. So just like this. So I know, let's talk about that. So I know like Kelly used to do um like the free classes. Um I have not done one yet. Is that something you guys would be interested in doing? Maybe doing like a little scene, maybe with the holiday coming up, maybe we could do like a little holiday scene. I think that would be super cute. Thoughts on that? And then we could all hang out. Yes, Dawn, these are kind of like classes. I totally agree. I totally agree with you on that. But with the other ones, oh look, it's a dry marker because I never use this. Just I never use this color. All right, so now I have to figure out um something for that. Um, but with the other classes, like you do have the opportunity to like look and see what we're going to use beforehand, so you can kind of like craft along. Um, So if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, let me know and I'll try to put something together. Or if you think maybe why do I keep there they are. I'm like, why do I keep using the same markers? I love your scene cards because you show so many ink blending techniques. Well, thank you, Susan. Um, I do try. I try with all of my card making. I try to show lots of different techniques. That's why I said like when we started this one, like I know Halloween isn't everybody's vibe, but like you may find something in here that you can apply that technique, um, for something else. So, like, maybe you like making Halloween cards just because, one, you like it, and, like, honestly, I feel like that's a good enough reason to make any kind of card. If, like, that's your vibe, then, yeah, I say make it. But if you have, like, grandkids, sometimes people, will give their grandkids little Halloween treats and, put a card with it, or, like I used to do them. I have to color in this area too. This is important to not forget that area. Okay. So we've said no to this. So really, I think we just need to, and I think maybe if we pop this up, that would look super cool. Yeah, let's do that. All right. I got my my big old wheel of foam tape. So I do have some fall stuff that I have picked out. I will probably try to maybe do that for our Monday card, a little fall card. Plus the fall cards are just nice, like, not even necessarily to use for Thanksgiving, but, like, if you host, um, it's nice to, when you give, like, a little hostess gift, to give a little card with it, or, things like that. Like, it's just cute. Last year, I went to a Halloween party with one of my previous coworkers invited me to, um, and, like, I did bring her, like, a little bottle of wine and put, like, a little Halloween card with it. Okay. So now I'm gonna have to stand up so that I can line this up and get it. Okay, there we go. And that one is lined up. All right. So now it is like a little doorway. See, we got some popped up action. And now we can go in, and that we're gonna do, well, I gotta fix that real quick. I gotta blend us in there. All right. So we're gonna add some shimmer to our moon. And then I'm gonna add some shimmer to, like, where the places where the light is gonna touch, all shimmery moonlight and such. Okay. And then here's my gel pen. So I'm gonna use my gel pen, of course, to create my little spider web string. And then I'm gonna add some highlights onto my little spider legs so we can see him kind of peeking out. I'm gonna do some white in the cat's eyes. I'm gonna do a little highlight here. Definitely I'm grabbing that kind of corner. These things here where the light is gonna hit, all along here, and even this one, top of the shoe for sure. Our little skull and crossbones. Okay, gemstones here because I just like them. The summer card I'm making for my sister, it will be over embellished, of course. Listen, you should make it as extra as you like. Okay, so we're gonna do 3 there, 2 there. That should be good. Okay. Mm, one. And this is the rainbow rhinestones. All right. So there's our little scene card. It only took us 2.5 hours. A phone dying. And we were back in business. So thank you. I know this was a long one. I know that my phone died. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I think the card came out really, really cute. I will definitely brainstorm an idea for a class. Pamela, I want the card. If maybe we should do that. Maybe sometimes we should raffle off the card and then I can make sure somebody else mails it, not me, because I won't mail it. You'll never see it. But maybe, so yeah, maybe we'll do that sometime. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate your time. Um, and I know it was a long one, so thank you for hanging in there. All right. I will see you guys on Monday for the premiere. Okay. Have a nice rest of your week. Bye.